we get a monthly magazine or newspaper from the bar. It's called the Florida Bar News.
Yes, we do.
And there really is not much of interest in there to me. I turn every page and look for something interesting. But the thing that's always interesting to me is the disciplinary actions.
Yes, that's a section I read every month.
I'll bet every lawyer does. I find it fascinating. And, I skim through the names of what lawyers in Florida have received disciplinary action, and I see what city that they're located in.
Mm-hmm.
And the only ones I really read about are the ones that happen to be in Central Florida, Orlando, Winter Park, Sanford. Those are the only ones I focus on. And often there are lawyers that I never heard of before.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it's like, oh, man, that guy's been a lawyer forever.
And then you read what happened. And you wonder, how did it happen?
I see when they were admitted to the bar. Mm-hmm. Most of them are relatively new lawyers, 10 to 15 years they've been a lawyer. But I would say there are two common reasons why lawyers are getting in trouble with the Florida bar. I'm going to start with the most common reason that lawyers are getting in trouble, and that is failure to communicate.
Communicate. That is the number one. I agree. Failure to communicate.
That's a movie line. What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Yeah.
From Cool Hand Luke.
Ah, Cool Hand Luke.
You know
one
that.
One of my favorites. What we have here, boys, is a failure to communicate.
You know what I'm saying. Paul Newman starred in that movie.
Newman.
And,
yes.
Check it out sometime, called Cool Hand Luke.
It is a wonderful movie. It really is.
And probably 40 years old, maybe.
Oh, if not a little older, Tom.
Yeah. So failure to communicate is, you as a lawyer, you got to be really, really, really bad at communicating to have a complaint filed against you and be upheld by the Florida bar. Something's got to be going on in your life other than a law practice, whether you got an addiction issues or you're in the middle of a traumatic divorce or you've suffered a heart attack or you got Alzheimer's. Something's got to be going on for you to have that bad a communication.
Yes.
It is the opposite of what we like to do here at the Olsen Law Group, and that is to fully communicate on a timely basis with clients and always keep them up to speed with what's going on.
Yes, with our clients and with our prospective clients, those who just call for that 1 or 2 moments of free legal advice. We're very prompt in our responses.
I was talking to attorney Chris Merrill recently about this, and I said, Chris, I've been a lawyer for 40 years, and I've got a kind of a sixth sense going on as to when clients, it's pretty rare, but as to when clients might be a little frustrated with the timing of me getting their work done.
Yes.
99% of the times this is not an issue, okay?
Right.
And so that the sixth sense is going off, oh, you know what, I promised the client that I'd have that done early this week. It's Thursday. I'm not communicating with the client. I'm going to call the client and say, oh, I'm so sorry. I know I promised this a couple days ago, but it's going to be early next week before I can finish it. If I can make that phone call, it's going to go something like this. Oh, Tom, I understand. Not a problem. Okay, no sweat.
No problem. Yep.
If I don't make that phone call and the client calls me or emails me and says, Tom, you promised this to me a couple days ago. What's going on, Tom? Yes. It is so hard to turn a client around after that kind of client experience.
It is. It really is.
So the point about that is it's just from a lawyer's perspective, you're gonna have a much better relationship with your client when you do communicate with them on everything and including the status of getting their work done.
100%.
Okay. So that's the most common reason that we see lawyers getting in trouble with the Florida bar. There are levels of trouble with the Florida bar, and the most extreme level is a flat-out disbar. You can't. You can never be a lawyer again. Mm-hmm. But usually, most common is you are not allowed to practice for 30 days
there
or 60
may be
days.
Suspensions. There may be public reprimands. I think the beginning is public reprimand. There's a letter put out and published. Mm-hmm. The next instance would elevate it to a suspension.
Yeah.
Then.
So they might have a 30-day suspension. And some listeners out there might say, hey, what's the big deal about 30 days you can't be a lawyer? What's the big deal? Well, part of that suspension is that you must notify every one of your clients and tell them I've been suspended for the next 30 days.
Yep. And you cannot take on new clients
Exactly.
in those 30 days.
So now it's not like, oh, I'll just tell my clients I'm on vacation for 30 days. No, you're required to tell them you've been suspended for 30 days.
Absolutely.
I saw one the other day about a lawyer who had been suspended for a year. Let's say it was a year. And during that period of time, he at least once continued to take on new work, collected a fee.
And that's no number one.
He got caught.
Suspension.
And he went straight to disbarment. So they're not fooling around with this.
They do not play.
The other reason that we see lawyers getting in trouble in the state of Florida is messing with their trust accounts. OMG, man, the Florida bar, that is one thing that they have zero tolerance on. And so what I'm saying is that it's in the history of lawyers out there, folks, not many, but every once in a while, a lawyer is failing to earn enough of a living to pay his bills, his mortgage, his rent, his groceries, etc. And so he's tapping into his trust account and taking money out of there to pay his own living expenses when he's not supposed to. And man, if the Florida bar catches you doing that, out you go. There are no second choices. You're out. And that is exactly the way it should be. Now, folks, I do want to let you know that is very, very, very rare. But when it happens, it happens. And by the way, there is a trust fund in the Tallahassee that provides that if a lawyer rips you off, I'm sure there's some kind of cap on it. But if the lawyer rips you off, that trust fund in Tallahassee will reimburse you. And Holly, are you familiar with that? That there's a trust fund in Florida that will reimburse clients that have been money's been stolen from them by the lawyer?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So I know there's some kind of cap on it, but let's just. I mean, what I was telling the listeners out there that a lawyer is not earning enough of an income from his law practice to pay his bills. Rent, electric, etc., both his office and his house. And so he's taking client trust monies to pay that.
And it's sad because, and I know of several instances because of people I knew where this happened and it becomes, well, I just need it for this month.
Exactly.
And I'll put it back.
Exactly.
I'll put it back. And then
I'm sure that was the thinking.
Yep.
And I was telling listeners that the Florida bar has zero tolerance for that. You get caught doing that, you're out.
Yep.
How do you get caught doing that? Well, let's say that you were the closing agent on a client's piece of property and the sale proceeds went into your trust account. And the client says, hey, hold on to that money for me for 30 days until I need it. And then 30 days later, the client's calling the lawyer and the lawyer's not returning their phone calls or, making up excuses. And the client comes to learn that the lawyer has spent that money that was not his.
Yep.
And that's where it usually happens.
It does. It does. And if I'm not mistaken, if you have a trust account, the Florida bar also gets the monthly statement, or is there something that the Florida bar receives?
Well, two things. Lawyer trust accounts are called IOTA, I-O-T-A, interest on trust accounts. So we as lawyers, we are not allowed to put client trust monies into an interest-bearing account. Right. That would be a conflict. But they are, in fact, in interest-bearing accounts. And the bank that I do business with, Chase, they pay an interest on that trust account, but they send it straight to the Florida bar.
Florida bar. That's what it is.
To the IOTA, interest on trust accounts. The Florida bar uses that to help indigent people. I think it's really limited to helping people, low income people with attorney's fees. How they're making those decisions, I don't quite know, but it is to help the general public who cannot afford ordinary attorney's fees.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
The other thing that happens is every year that when we pay our annual dues to become a Florida lawyer, there's a box to be checked on there. Do you maintain a client trust account? Yes. Are you in full compliance with Florida trust accounting rules? And of course, it's, nobody's checking you're looking over your shoulder, but you've got to check that box. Yes, I am in full compliance. Hey, folks, my name is Tom Olsen. The name of the show is Olsen on Law.